Good morning. Welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is the Reverend Ed Prue, and I am the minister here. It is so good to see all of you this morning. Let's do this. Look at someone that you did not live with, that you do not live with, that you did not come here with. Make eye contact with them, not creepy eye contact, nice eye contact, and say, "It's a good day for a good day." And do that a couple times. Just look at people that you didn't come here with and say, "It's a good day for a good day." It's a good day for a good day. We are very happy to have here with us this morning the Texas UGM board. The Texas, that's what is it when you use just the first initial of every, and an acronym? Yeah. Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry, Texas UGM, which is TexUGM or TexUGM. I've heard it pronounced 18 different ways. These are the this is the board of the legislative body of Unitarian Universalism that goes to the Texas legislature and complains and tries to get the Texas legislature to change its mind. Whew. Can anyone say Sisyphus? But we welcome them. We are very happy they're here, and we honor their work by sharing this space with them and sharing this Sunday. And we have with us, speaking to you this morning, is their executive director and minister, Reverend Aaron J. Walter. Let me tell you a little bit about Aaron. Aaron is the minister and executive director for Texas UGM. And she is the winner, I didn't know this, she is the winner of the 2017 Sermon Award from the UU Women's Federation and a former journalist. Yeah. She is also the singer-songwriter and bassist for the band Parker Woodland, and that band features in the service today. That band will tie together some of the things that we're saying, and we're going to see some of the videos from Parker Woodland today. And as if that wasn't enough, in 2022, her book, Care for the World, Reflections on Community Ministry, was published by Skinner House Books. So you can find that at Skinner House Books. And her new album is coming out, There's No Such Thing as Time, which I love the name of that, just right off the top. She would have brought some here with her today, but they're not quite ready yet. So go online, I'll tell you again at the end of the service, and buy up a bunch of CDs from Aaron. And we are happy to have you here with us, Aaron, this morning. Aaron and I went to seminary together a long time. It was a while ago. Yeah. In other business, if you, after services today, two things are going on after services today. The first thing is you can join us for coffee and conversation, and Reverend Aaron will be out with the coffee and conversation, and so will the Texas UGM board be out having coffee and conversation. If you want to ask them questions or just follow up along with what Texas UGM is doing, they'll be out there. Also going on is if you're still a little bit new around here and would like to learn a little bit more about Emerson, or about Unitarian Universalism, there will be a Welcome to Emerson class going on, a meeting going on in the library after services. So you can grab some coffee, come up to the library, you just go up this flight of stairs, or there's a lift there, you can go up there and it's down the hallway. Linda will be doing the meeting Nancy and I will be doing the meeting right after services today. After those two things, we have what is called Lunch Bunch here, which is just an informal gathering of people. Please join us if you're hungry, looking for lunch. We're going just half a block up here to Common Bond today. You are welcome to join us. If you are still a little new around here and would like to receive more information about us, you'll find a yellow card in your pew. Please go ahead and take the yellow card. If you're interested in getting on a mailing list, we will put you on our mailing list, and we promise not to send you more than 2 emails per week. so that you can be connected to what is going on here at Emerson and become involved. And I think that's all we have this morning, so I now invite Artem to bring us into the formal part of our service. I love the way our music people find music to fit the moment. And now we transition into our sacred time together, a time of reverence, a time of attention, and a time of intention. I invite you to join us in this time marked by the lighting of our chalice flame, and we have the wonderful Reverend Ade Krabah here with us. Reverend Ade is the minister at our congregation in New Braunfels, Texas. Did I pronounce that right? Yes. In New Braunfels, Texas. And she has lit our our chalice. And with the lighting, we mark these lighting with sacred words, important words that bring us into a time of collective intention. I invite you at home to light a chalice of your own as well. Our chalice lighting words for this month come from seminarian and member of the San Gabriel, Texas Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, Eric Hepburn. His words, please join me in reading these as they appear on the screen. We light this flame to remind us that love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. Emerson is a beloved community of faith, reason, and affection. We welcome all to grow in mind and body and spirit with us as we build a better world. We do this by gathering here to seek, to learn, to grow, and in the course of our work, to promote love amongst each other, our congregation, and the wider community here in Houston. Whether you're here in the sanctuary with us or joining us via YouTube or on Facebook or by whatever means, no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, we invite you to live, learn, love, and grow with us. As a covenantal community, we aspire to promote love, fellowship, and social justice as we support you for your personal growth. Please join me in our welcoming. These very important words that we say every week are on your screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. So today we have a little twist that we are doing for the first time, and we're going to do it every week. We're adding something to the normal Sunday service this week, and we are very happy to have with us Richard Cummins. Richard is every week, or Richard or one of Richard's minions? What shall we call them, Richard? Acolytes. There we go, Richard. Very nice word. As you may know, one of the ministers here in this congregation for 25 years was a gentleman by the name of, Frank Schulman. Oh my God, that was awful. I knew I should have written this down. Frank Schulman has written a book called This Week in Unitarian Universalist History. So what we're going to do is each week, Richard or one of his minions, acolytes, is going to choose from This Week in Unitarian Universalist History, and he's going to read you a bit from that book. So we welcome Richard at this point to start our new tradition here of reading from our minister's book.
Thank you, Reverend Ed, and good morning. Good morning. For the week of August 19th to 25th, there were many noteworthy events in UU history, and I'm just going to share with you a few of them. In 1994, Linus Carl Pauling, a Unitarian and the founder of molecular biology, died at the age of 93. In 1811, Henry Berg was born. He was the son of a wealthy shipbuilder and followed in his father's business for a while. Although he studied at Columbia College in New York City, he did not graduate. Under the ministry of Henry Whitney Bellows at All Souls Church in New York, he became a Unitarian. On a trip to Russia, he became interested in the treatment of animals and often intervened when he saw animals abused on the streets. Following his return to the United States, Berg persuaded the New York legislature to charter the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. He was elected its president and worked for that cause his entire life. In 1920, Unitarian science fiction writer Ray Bradbury was born in Waukegan, Illinois. His work combines social and technological criticism with fantasy. Among his better-known books are The Martian Chronicles, 1950, Fahrenheit 451 in 1953. And lastly, in 1774, Mary Moody Emerson was born in Concord, Massachusetts, the fourth child of William and Phoebe Bliss Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson was her nephew. She directed the education of her nephews, including Ralph Waldo, and drilled into them that there must always be a Reverend Mr. Emerson in Boston. Back to you, Reverend Ed.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Let me see, hold on for a second. And Les, this is the book. If you're interested, did we have to read this in seminary? I don't remember having to read this in seminary. This is a really good book. So thank you. Thank you, Richard. Sure. Richard guiding us through the history of you and you and you, right? Unitarian Universalist and Unitarian Universalist. Thank you very much for doing that. And now I invite our guest, Reverend Aaron, to deliver our opening words.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Erin Walter, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am delighted to be back here with you at Emerson, especially delighted because this morning, after having been here all day yesterday for our wonderful Texas UU Justice Ministry Board retreat, where there was construction going on in the street, I drove into the wrong parking lot this morning, and they were so nice. They just ushered me in, and I thought, maybe it's the side door. And I got in, and I looked up at the church sanctuary from the church next door, and I thought, this is not what Emerson looks like. It was really funny. I felt like I was in an episode of Scooby-Doo for a minute, you know, where they have two different lodges that they use to confuse you. Anyway, it is so good to be here and with you today. When we gather as Unitarian Universalists, we hear words from our 6 sources, which range from sacred texts of the world's religions to the lived experience of all of us. And today we hear wise words from Dorothy Day. Dorothy Day lived from 1897 until 1980. She was a white American journalist, social activist, and anarchist who is perhaps best known as a political radical among American Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholic Church has opened a process to make Dorothy a saint in their faith. Here are her words for consideration for your heart and mind this morning. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There is too much work to do. And now, with our chalices lit and our hearts and minds centered on that good and spiritual work, would you please join your voices with our wonderful choir as we sing the first hymn? You may stand if you are comfortable doing so or remain seated, but please lift those voices to sing hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine, in your gray hymnal. Our story this morning comes from the song I Am Willing by the folk singer Holly Near. And you will get to see a video of my band doing our cover of this song, which came to be because we would do it in church, not my band, but me and every congregation I would visit. It's a favorite among UUs. Holly Near also has a song in our hymnal. Is it Singing for Our Lives, I think? I love that one. It's so good. And the story is just this, that you will see yourselves in this video. You will see your friends and fellow UUs going to the Capitol, declaring together what it means to express Unitarian Universalist values in the public square. And music is such an important part of that. And so is that we do it across generations together, that people of all ages are involved in our justice work. We need the wisdom of our elders who have done and seen and been through so much, and frankly, I know are very frustrated about where we are, and my heart is with you on that. We need your wisdom and experience, and we need the children that you're going to see in this video with their hope and their determination, holding up their signs, and everybody in between. So I just wanted to share this video and also to tell you that it was made by one of your UU siblings at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin, a volunteer from our tech team there. Shout out to the Emerson tech team. They do magical things. So a volunteer also made this video, and it is my joy to share it with you. And you are very much invited to sing along if you know it, if you catch the spirit, or if you just see the words and want to give it a go.
To be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is a hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open
Each time we gather here at Emerson, we ask your help in fulfilling this church's mission. The success of this church and the principles we support is made possible by your work, the work of you, our members, and you, our friends, and by your financial support. We honor that support by striving to live the mission of this place fully and wholeheartedly every day. Here at Emerson, when we make a collection and during our services, this collection does not go to funding our work, which is funded through the pledges of our members and friends. This collection each week goes to fund the work of important partners of Emerson who, in our opinion, live out our Unitarian Universalist values in our communities and in the world beyond our community. This week, this month, our collection is going to, conveniently and coincidentally, Texas UU Justice Ministry. There might have been some planning behind there. 75% of our offering will go to help Reverend Aaron, the Texas UJM Board, live out our Unitarian Universalist values in Austin, Texas, which, y'all, is not an easy thing to do. So we ask you now, Texas UJM, I'm going to read what Texas UJM does, so in case you forget. Well, we've heard this every week for the past month, Aaron, so they could probably recite it with me. Texas UJM advocates for public policies that reflect UU values and principles. They are the state action network of Unitarian Universalist churches, and most Unitarian Universalist churches are members of Texas UJM. Texas UJM organizes, facilitates, and supports activities such as rallies at the Texas Capitol, lobbying legislators in person and electronically, UU the Vote, which is in full swing right now, support for LGBT, transgender, and immigration rights. It also closely collaborates with like-minded partners on social justice. 75% of what we gather this morning will go to help that work. The other 25% stays here in Houston to help Meals on Wheels provide thousands of meals each day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go on our website for giving. You can go on Texas UJM's site for giving. However you decide to give, we just ask that you give from your heart and give from your soul for this important work. During the music, children who want to go to their RE classes can go to those classes.
All blessings on your gifts and on you as givers. I do want to say a couple things about your support for TechSouJim before we transition into our time of meditation. My dear friend and colleague, Reverend Ed, is right that there is a lot of work to do in Austin, and I am indeed based there. However, our work is to serve UU's in justice work throughout the entire state. And so we'll talk about this more during our very creative sermon conversation coming up. But there's a lot more than what we do at the legislature. And sometimes a person might be blessed to have a few $1,000s that they will not miss, but that money is what will make it possible for an additional organizer to be working to organize UUs in North Texas or West Texas or our border communities. We make your money go a long way because we don't have a building, we're not paying for air conditioning, so everything that you're contributing from your heart and soul is going directly into organizing your fellow UUs to represent you in coalitions that are getting things done. I know the news will make it seem like it's impossible work. It's not. We are excited for the legislative session coming up and for the electoral work. But just last session, despite what looked like so much bad news, our coalition, and you were part of this, you can feel proud of this, defeated 95% of the anti-LGBTQIA plus bills. 95%. You were a huge part of that. We took the maternal health care from 2 months postpartum to 12 months with the work that we did. And we defeated school voucher schemes that would have taken money from public schools through 4 sessions of the legislature and defeated all of it, even when they said it couldn't be done. And you all are part of that. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of our UUs across the state of Texas and all of our coalition partners. Thank you so much for your generosity. Shall we take a breath together? For our meditation today, since the TechSouJim board has been meeting here and blessed to be here this weekend, I'd like to share with you and invite you into the reading that we did yesterday to open our retreat. It comes from Unitarian Universalist Atina O. Danner's book, Incantation for Rest. Atina is based in Chicago. And the reading is Benediction to Build a World. And I'm going to read some of it. And in the second half, I'm going to invite you to say a line with me a few times. In what world are you powerful? In this world, we can build people power together. In what world do you act on knowledge and truth? In this world, we can learn and move toward justice together. In what world do you hold on to your values in the face of what scares you? In this world, we can affirm each other's resolve to do right together. In what world are you confident of your worth? In this world, we can affirm that each of us is enough. In what world do faith and beliefs guide your choices? Now, here's the part where we're going to do it together. I'm going to ask you that question again, and your line is, together we can build this world, okay? Together we can build this world. So, in what world can you learn from those with less power? Together we can build this world. In what world do faith and beliefs guide your choices? Together we can build this world. In what world could empathy shield you from judging others? Together, we can build this world. In what world will your power plant roots and tend to branches and leaves? Together, we can build this world.
The words for our second reading today come from W.E.B. Du Bois. Du Bois was a Black American who was born in Massachusetts just 3 years after the end of the United States Civil War, and he died in Ghana in 1963. Du Bois received the first PhD from Harvard University ever awarded to a Black American. He was a prolific author, civil rights activist, who was forced to flee the United States after being targeted by the FBI for being outspoken about racism, lynching, and Jim Crow laws after the Second World War. Here are his words for your consideration this morning. He says, "Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day in some future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime." And now I invite Reverend Aaron to introduce another video.
A couple of years ago, when I started this work as the executive director and minister of your state justice network, I was with some of you in front of the governor's mansion, fighting for health care rights of trans minors, kids and teens and their families. And I saw a child holding a sign that said, "Not ready to die yet." And I didn't take their picture because I'm a mom and I really feel strongly about privacy for children. But the image of this child and their parent and this sign stayed on my heart. And I knew that as an artist, and I consider art and music to be a very important part of how we share our message and how we change hearts and minds, I knew that that was something I was going to have to find a way to convey. So this song, "Makeup," that you're going to hear was our new single that Parker Woodland released during Pride Month in June, and we did a lot of really fun Pride shows and things to share it. There are some Unitarian Universalists in this video as well. But the message of the video, while it started with that very sad moment for me and the fight that goes on, and that we will keep fighting for everyone's rights and for everyone's access to health care for as long as it takes, we also wanted to take that and transform it into a joyful message, because we believe that joy is also what keeps us in these movements for life, that we can then hand to our children and our grandchildren to keep it going. So in this video, you'll see some people just invited to be themselves. There's a member of the TechSouJin board in this video. And I would like to invite you to be a part of it in advance, because the key lines of this song are, "You know who you are, and you don't owe them anything." So I invite you to think about what it means to really be who you are. And if there's ever been anybody who made you feel like that wasn't okay, and if you are so willing to turn to someone next to you and affirm each other and just turn and say, "You know who you are." Could you try that for me? You don't have to, but could you try? Turn to somebody and say, "You know who you are. And you don't owe them anything." Perfect. Thank you for trying that. And here's our video.
So lonely in a crowd. Sometimes nothing helps. You're always trying, and it gets so tiring. So you call your mother from upstairs, say, "Call me by my new name." You just anything, you know who you are. And you don't owe them anything, you know who you are. And you don't owe them anything, you know who you are. 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 And you don't owe them anything. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know who you are.
I have a bunch of questions for you. And my first one comes out of something you said. So I'm kind of a numbers person, unfortunately. And you said that Texas UGM defeated 95% of anti-trans. So for that to be a whole number, there has to be at least 20 anti-trans bill. How many?
How's that going? Great. Anti-LGBTQ.
Okay.
Plus, so
Okay.
the whole spectrum of queer Texans, over 100 bills. It was an onslaught.
So we've fixed all the roads. And we've
The grid is fine.
the grid is
Yeah.
fine. Everything, we
No.
can get on to this important stuff now
That
of
no one
picking
is
on
asking
people.
for.
Who, right. Okay.
Absolutely. No, they
100
have real work to do, and instead have been attacking Texans that they are supposed to represent and support.
Okay. All right, here we go. So we're going to do this interview type thing. I want you guys to know you guys are big supporters of Texas UGM, and I just want you to know what you're supporting. So we are going to ask some questions here. So first of all, let's start with the music. These two Parker Woodland songs. How you obviously at a service where you're talking about Texas UGM, you brought us these two songs. Tell us what the music and tell us what that thread is.
Thank you. So thank you for letting me bring my music to the church. I had hoped to bring my band today.
Right,
My
right.
drummer's mother passed away, and so she's been in Arizona for the memorial service, and I send my love to her. One of the things that I learned during the pandemic is that there's a lot of ways to share music, and so I did about 150 services for UU congregations from Key West to Canada, is how I used to describe it. And a lot of that was with video. So where I can, I still do that. First and foremost, even well before being the leader of the Justice Ministry, I'm a Unitarian Universalist. I am a born and raised Unitarian Universalist. I care deeply about our churches and ministries. And there's a joke kind of inside baseball among some of us, you know, that UUs feel like Imagine by John Lennon is like new music, you know, fresh new rock and roll. And it does matter to me that our faith continues. And so I think it's one of the things that's important is showing our youth, having new music, new rock and roll. So if anybody else has like a UU band or music that they're making now, I'd love to know about it, right? So in some piece, being a public person who shares my UU faith through my music with the wider world is part of my evangelism, if I dare use that word, as a UU. And then secondly, I really believe, and we've seen, because I was in a trans rock band for 10 years before this band called Butch County, and so I played bass and I supported our front person telling her stories about what it was like for her growing up queer and then trans in Texas. And I've seen how it can change hearts and minds in ways that like arguing on Facebook or having a debate with someone is not going to do. And so with every album, not every song is going to be a justice anthem, but it's very intentional to me that at least some of the songs I'd be able to use in church and be able to talk about my UU faith as a part of that musical grounding.
That's great. I love the fact that our faith isn't locked down like in 1653 or something, right? That new people are born, and they look at our faith and say, "Oh, that's what you mean," and create music
And it's a living tradition. And I love all kinds of music. Some of you know me as a Zumba teacher also. So I love Afrobeat music. I love Latin music. I grew up with our hymns. I love our hymns. And it was so cool that you all had Spirit of Life. Atina, the author of that reading, and I went to Second Unitarian Church of Chicago together, and that was our congregational hymn. Yeah. So I love how our music ties and connects us as people of faith across
awesome.
Time and space.
So you get the music and you get the work of Texas UGIM. So tell us about, I have some of it. I just got here, so give me a minute. But I mean, I have some idea of what Texas UGIM does. Tell us,
Well, and so when Reverend Ed and I were visiting a few months ago, number one, I was really excited that he was coming to Texas. And number two, excited for your deep interest in the justice ministry. Ed came to our get-together at General Assembly. He talked about, I want to see Emerson. I think you might have said punch above our weight class, which, for me, it's like I always say to people, UU is a small faith, but we show up big. And so I love that you were from the start really wanting to know more about us. So the justice ministry has been around about 12 years. We are one of about 30 UU state action networks. So it's an emergent and pretty new form of our UU justice work. Other states are learning to create them too. And so we've been around a little bit longer than some, but not as long as others. And we have a small staff. I'm not quite full-time. In the last year or two, we added a couple of part-time folks. We have an intern minister. But our work is partly and really primarily to be engaged with you and support the work that you are doing. We provide educational resources, so we got grants written so that every congregation in the state of Texas, UU congregation, can do the Transgender Inclusion in Congregations program pro bono. So if you hadn't had a chance to do it yet, that's in perpetuity. When you're ready, that's an RE program you can use that's been very, I see Sandy out here nodding. We want to wave, Sandy. Sandy is at Horizon UU in Carrollton. She's one of our board members, and she can talk with you about the program. But anyway, there's the education piece. There's the legislative piece that you saw a lot of. The Texas legislature, if you're new to the state like Ed, only meets every other year.
It's totally crazy.
Which is merciful in a lot of ways. And it makes for a very intense odd year. They meet on the odd years. So we'll be inviting you to the Capitol a lot starting in the winter. But we'll also be offering you opportunities to email, to call, to come to Zoom meetings every week and know what's going on so that you can lobby your local offices if you can't make it to the Capitol, right? And then the third piece is this fight for democracy that we're in right now and that we would love to talk with you about in detail. But I'll also tell you that Ellen Norton and Janet Dawson are your vote captains with Tex Ujum from this congregation. And just also a shout out to Lisa Rocket, who from Emerson was your Tex Ujum board member for a long time. So you have some folks who know.
Oh, yeah. So people have said, not here, but people have said in the past, this is a church. Why are you talking about politics and the business of, Austin or Tallahassee or wherever you are, right? Why are you talking about, I don't understand why this is a focus in it. How does a church, how do you make that connection?
So I used to have that question too. Democracy was on is on our list of principles. And I always thought that one was a little odd. Didn't seem all that spiritual to me. And then when the January 6th insurrection happened, I felt deep in my spirit why democracy was worth fighting for. But also, you should know that Tex Ujum's work, we're a 501c3. We have a C4, but that's dormant while we're focusing our work on the C3. So we do nonpartisan get out the vote work. And to me, and to a lot of our people, that spiritual practice is an extension. The democracy work is an extension of our UU first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We are not remotely getting the vote of every person in Texas. We are not a this or that state in terms of parties. We are a non-voting state. About 14% of people are voting. And I believe deep, deep in my soul that if a much larger percentage, and like, wouldn't it be amazing if 100% of Texans' voices were heard at the polls, we would have so many of the things that we need. You would not have to suffer as greatly during a hurricane because needs are not being met. You know, we would have healthcare. We would have a more caring society. So I believe that your vote is an extension of our UU, inherent worth and dignity.
Sure. I mean, I've heard that too. I've heard that Texas is actually a pretty liberal state. It's just, as a new person who just moved here, you have an election like every 10 minutes. It's hard to figure when to go vote. I think they're intentionally trying to keep us confused.
I mean, that's terrible, and I'm so glad you said it, because it is true. And when we talk about voter suppression, certainly you can imagine violent, and you can see, and some of you may have been through, and your ancestors have been through violent voter suppression in this country. However, a lot of the voter suppression that happens now is more subtle and more sinister. It's intimidation at the polls. It's making things just too confusing. That's on purpose. And so a lot of our work is to help our neighbors and friends and ourselves make a voting plan. When we meet for Action Hour every week on Thursday nights, and we have a Faith in Democracy organizer, Sarah Burrell Harrop, and she provides opportunities so that it's not overwhelming for you, but you have ways to get involved and help your neighbors get to the polls. That's one of the ways we're fighting voter suppression.
Yeah, that and not electing the dog catcher. I mean, everybody seems to be elected. It's just crazy.
Well, I do want to thank your minister for having just been on the border witness trip with TexSUJM and Texas Impact. Thank you, Reverend Ed, for taking that time. Immigration and racial justice issues are very important to our work as well. And having that firsthand experience, and I hope some of you will go on some of the next trips, Reverend Aday and I have gone, very powerful. And we take those experiences back to our congregations, to the legislature, in the hope that we can get them to understand.
Great. Yeah, it was a good trip. I'll push on you guys to take it later. Next time it comes up, I'm going to be pushing on you. It's a good trip. Tell me what the good news is. What's the good news?
I love that question. What's the good news? Well, you heard a little of it.
95%.
95%.
So the bad news is we had 100 anti-LGBT, which is just nuts. But the good news is they almost all went away.
Yes, and, well, they were defeated through very hard work that a lot of you were part of or you funded. I can't say enough about our gratitude for your financial contributions, because it just takes a lot of work to organize all these UUs, right? Some of you know how much work it is to organize just in your congregation. Imagine the whole state of Texas. We have about 40 UU congregations. It's a very big state. But the good news is, this is what I feel about the good news, is that the work we are doing is building power, building community. It's not one session this, one election that. The relationships and the strategies that we're building grow over time. And so this is my third year in the role. We have so many amazing partners. We know each other. Megan Fairbanks, one of our board members, we've talked about, even though it's so hard, even though the things they're doing are so heinous, the joy of coming together to do and be together and do the work is really powerful. So 2 years ago, for the election work, for the democracy work, we had 19 Texas congregations and organizations with us doing the postcards, making the calls, all that. This year we have 39. I'm over the moon about it. And so the same is going to be true when we go to the legislature. All of the people who had that glorious experience of singing in the rotunda and being together and then going and talking face to face with their representatives and getting to know them, those people are going to invite friends, and we're going to invite friends, and we're going to keep building the work that we do. And we've seen, and the last thing I'll say on the good news is that then we take that back to our local communities. One of the bills that did pass, because here's the thing, one of the other big initiatives, and you know this, is the extremist Christian nationalism that they're trying to put in our schools, in our everything. So we defeated a lot of those bills too. But there are no 10 commandments posted in every classroom. We defeated that one, for example. But the one that made it through was about having untrained, uncertified religious chaplains in schools to replace trained school counselors. That one made it through, but then all of that organizing that people did took it back to their local communities. Not a single school board approved one of those counselors.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's an important source of hope, an important thing to know, is that we're always building those relationships and those skills to then come back to your local areas around Houston and apply them here.
So I got something else you said when you were talking and in your music, that you like joy. I'm a big fan too, yeah. Tell me what brings you joy or what brings you hope in the work that you're doing right now. Tell it, not just me, tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I have so many answers, so I'm thinking about it.
Well, we don't have that much time.
I know. I'm like, everything. I love being with the board. I love being with you. Coming to the churches is so great because I work from my house some of the time. I am the parent of queer kids, and they are back at school this week. And just seeing them back at school and thriving among their friends and knowing that they also had elders that they could look up to when they came to the Capitol with me. If you saw like a kid in a rainbow fur jacket, that was my son. And so it brings me joy to know that I'm raising my children among Unitarian Universalist activists, role models, ministers, friends, and that we're growing that for the next generation of kids in our communities. That really brings me a lot of joy. Yeah, and then music and dancing. If you ever want to do some karaoke, we're planning a board karaoke party. That too.
So someone's going to ask, so I'm going to ask for you, where do you buy a rainbow fur jacket? Like, where are these available, just in case?
I love that. Like all ministers, I buy my clothes at bars. No, in Austin, there are lots of pop-up vintage shops everywhere you go. And I saw that one at a rock show one
Beautiful.
time, and I knew I had to have it. And then, like everything in my artistic/ministerial/justice-seeking life, it all ends up weaving together. Because I bought it at a rock show, but it was on the cover of the San Antonio Express News. It's become like its own symbol of the fight in some ways.
I can believe that.
But you can Google it too. There's a lot of things on the internet. If you need some justice fashion, I will be happy to talk to you about where to go shopping.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Erin, for updating us on what you do and how we help you. We appreciate your partnership. We couldn't do it without you. We need you there telling us, hey, look at this, look at that, look at this. Come here, do that. We need that. It's too much. So we appreciate having UUs with their feet on the ground and, sometimes in the weeds, but with their feet on the ground saying, look at this, look at that. Because I know for me, it's just overwhelming. The United States, I moved from Florida, which is, it's good to have someone that I trust saying, you need to look at this, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate your work, and we love supporting you.
Thank you so much. And I want to say to all of y'all, I know it's overwhelming, and a lot of you are directly impacted by what's going on, and we are with you in solidarity, and we will keep fighting for this. And if you get overwhelmed and you're not sure what to do, like what Dorothy Day was saying, like one thing. If you need someone to help you find the one thing, Reverend Ed, myself, we will help you find the one thing. We don't want it to be so overwhelming. That's what they're trying to do. And we want to be the antidote to that.
Yeah,
at TechSoup.
That's what they're trying to do. You're going to vote every 3 minutes, and that's what they're trying to do, is confuse you. So thank you again. Okay, we're going to sing a hymn.
We are going to sing. We're going to sing
that?
Building a New Way, right?
That's a good idea. Let's do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
love that line in that hymn that says we are working to be free. Some of us are more free than others. So we're working for us to be free. We're working for everybody to be free. And sometimes the part of who we are working to be free is not us, which is a beautiful it is a beautiful privilege if you have it. So we are now at the part of our service where we must extinguish our chalice flame. Reverend Ade will extinguish our chalice flame. Thank you, and thank you for your work. This flame has served as a reminder to us that our time together this morning is sacred, a time set apart. In the words of my friend, Reverend Brian Kiley, this chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. Everyone who has joined us on Facebook, we are so grateful that you were able to do that. We're grateful that you were able to be with us here this morning, if not in body, but in soul and in spirit and in mind. And we look forward to a time where we will be with you again. And now I offer this benediction to you. But before I do that, I would just like to remind you that Reverend Aaron and some of the Texas Fusion Board will be at coffee hour. I will have to run for the new UU class, but please feel free to ask them questions and find out what they need and what they want and where they're going. They will be glad to do that for you. For those of you who are interested in the new to Emerson or new to UU class, we come right upstairs. There's either an elevator or a flight of stairs, and Nancy and I will greet you up there. May we, in the course of our week, be more and more aware of the communities of which we are a part. May we be more and more aware of our individual part in those communities. May we be more and more aware of how those communities co-create our journeys with us, and may we be more and more aware of how we co-create their journeys with them. Amen. Go now in peace.